So hi there, this is David again, and continuing to work on the railing. This is actually a piece that's going to be going on the top section, but you'll see that in some of the videos that I'll be putting up. This next video, number 4 in the series, continues on finishing the floor work, finishing the end piece, just really doing a lot of the fine work in anticipation of being able to start building up from the floor the rest of the railing. So hope you enjoy it. Again, if you have any thoughts or comments, love to hear them. Put them below the video, and we'll see you on the next section. So as I'm continuing to work on the bottom of the railing, one part that I was able to go ahead and get done in relatively short order was the end cross piece. And basically had sanded a piece the right length, had trimmed the end so that it's a pretty close fit most of the way around, and I can certainly sand the little edges to be a closer butt fit, but they will match. And this bolt at the end looks a little obnoxious right now, but that's going to get painted black, and that will match the color of the railing. So I think that one bolt there will probably be, well, I hate to jinx myself, but the plan is to have as minimal bolts actually showing as we possibly can. So that may be one of just a couple potential bolts that will ever show. So now working on the front panel, we've been working on the long cross piece, but now working on the cross piece that will go up by the stairs. And the panel here is 2 feet wide, and it's of a wolf. And again, have to drill the holes. There's going to be 3 holes here, 2 for supporting the metal plate, and then 1 at the end that will be supporting a log upright to help support the banister. Only the hole that will be drilled at the end will have a bolt going through like the other ones on the long run to bolt it to the floor to make it secure. So I've got the holes drilled for the upright supports for the wolf side of the railing. So those are drilled. I've also drilled the final hole on the end. As I mentioned earlier, the plan was to put a bolt, just as I had done over here, to bolt that end to the floor. What I'm now rethinking is that I'm going to really want whatever upright log goes into that as a support for the banister to be pretty darn secure. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is actually I'm going to probably drill a hole from the bottom and have a bolt coming up through this hole up into the log support. What that means though is that I'm going to have to then drill a hole here to basically mimic the pattern that I've done on this log, which is to secure it to the floor with another countersunk hole and another bolt coming through here. So the bolt's actually going to be about 6 inches off of the end of the log. Another advantage to that, quite honestly, is that again, these are hand-hewed logs. And if you look down from underneath, you can see they're not perfectly level, and that was okay. I knew that going into this, but I'm going to have basically a bolt here, but that will allow the end, which you can see is not actually touching the floor, to actually continue to not touch the floor and float above that floating floor. So on the middle hole right here, that's where the bolt will come through, and you can see I've got a fairly flush fit there, so that actually makes more sense. So as with all these projects, as you're working on it, you're thinking through it, and change is inevitable. So yet one more revision. Again, I got the hole drilled. The bolt on the far hole is going to be coming up into the supporting banister here. This again hole is going to have one of the little tenons fitting into it like that. And again, to support that, I had drilled into the floor to make this secure. Right now it's got one bolt there and a bolt on the end, but I'm thinking, you know, I've got this extra hole here. Am I just being lazy by not going ahead and doing the same treatment that I did to that hole, to this hole, just to make it super, super secure? Part of the reason for that is that these metal grates, again, they're solid steel, and they are probably 1/4 inch steel, and this one probably weighs about 30 pounds. So to support that, I'm thinking the more support I can put on this railing, the better off I'll be. So I'm going to be drilling and doing the same treatment to this hole that I've done to some of the other holes here. So this is the finished cross section, and as I mentioned, I did go ahead and put in the bolt on 2 of the holes here, and each of these holes will basically get a tenon just like that to support the actual steel work. The final hole again is just drilled through from the bottom. I did drill a counter hole on the bottom to fit the bolt that will be coming up through that hole to support the actual banister, the wood log banister support.